Visibility is something you earn, and it is not something that's owed. You need to know what actually earns attention. Here's something I think helps break through kind of the noise a little bit. Welcome back to On the Horizon. This is MelRose Michaels. I am your host, and I'm here to share what's worked for me in building my adult creator business to try to make building yours just a little bit easier. Let's get into today's episode. I need to say something that is going to sting a little, but if you take it in, it will change the way you run your business forever. No one owes you visibility, not the algorithm, not your fans, not your followers. The reality is that the internet is noisy and there is content everywhere, and we are all just drowning in attention-seeking posts. So if you want to stand out and to grow and to be seen in this industry, you cannot rely on luck or pity. You have to earn attention. And I know how that sounds, and I also want to say that I know it is not the same game for every kind of creator or on every kind of platform. It is not a fair playing field. That's established. No one's arguing that. But what I want is for people that follow our stuff or that listen to our podcast to understand that even though it might not be fair, you should know how to win at it anyway. So today I am breaking down exactly how to do that ethically and strategically and without selling your soul in the process. This one is a game changer if you are tired of posting into the void and wondering why no one is biting. Visibility isn't a right, it is a currency. And I think making that switch in how we approach it is very important. Visibility is something you earn, and it is not something that's owed. And earning it doesn't necessarily mean by being loud or extreme or constantly online, but it means being valuable in a space that's already overwhelmed. There is a difference between being online and being active and being worth paying attention to. And the truth is, most creators confuse effort with effectiveness. They think if they post more or post longer or post spicier, they will finally get seen. But that's actually not how this works anymore. In a saturated market, visibility belongs to those who understand how to position themselves. And this is where tools like ours, with like GPT.ai, they exist and they can help creators not just create, but also to stand out. Because it's not just about showing up more, it's actually about showing up better. So why you're not being seen, even if you're working hard. Some of the top reasons adult creators struggle with visibility is 1, you're talking to everyone, so you're resonating with no one. If your brand is too broad, you are trying to appeal to everyone, so no one feels like it's for them. So you need to start calling in your people, the ones who want your vibe or who want your kink or who want your flavor or who gravitate towards a creator like you. A great example of a reel that one of my friends posted and was going around because I saw a couple creators doing this trend was this creator friend of mine happens to be a very tattooed creator. And she posted this video. She was just kind of walking to the camera, posing slightly, nothing crazy. And the text or the writing on the reel said, "You're seeing this because the algorithm knows you like tattooed girls, tattooed performers, tattooed models," whatever it was. But it's a great way for her to call to her people. She wants people to follow her who like tattooed girls. And she's saying it specifically in the content. And therefore, when people come across that content, if they are a kind of person who likes tattooed models, they're going to know it's for them, that she is for them, and she's talking to them. And that is a fantastic example that if you are talking to everyone, you are resonating with no one. Number 2, I think you're not packaging often your value very clearly. Even if your content is super great, if the first 2 seconds don't grab attention, it's kind of gone. So you should be asking yourself, does my hook for social media content stop people from scrolling? Is it clear who this content is for, who I'm talking to? And then why would I pause this if I saw it? Because visibility starts with clarity, and you don't make people work to understand you. That should be easy for them when they see your stuff. It should be very clear and very easy and very simple. And the third piece of this is you're being consistent but boring. And I know this sounds so harsh and I'm so sorry, but I'm trying to give real practical advice. And I'm saying this speaking about my own content as well. A lot of the content I have put out, especially the content that doesn't perform well, it's because it's boring, or because I'm speaking to no one, or because it's very unclear who I am, or why they should pause it, or there's no hook. Like, this is a real thing. And I think we should audit ourselves and be very self-aware on where we might be going wrong. Consistency is only powerful when the content itself has range. When you have something that pattern interrupts or has emotional variety, whether it's sexy or silly or serious. Eva Sweet is a fantastic example of a creator that executes on that. She will have very silly content, and then she'll have very sexy content. And sometimes there'll be a story time that comes off a little bit more serious. Then you also have the component of visual variety, like different angles and formats and outfits and backgrounds. You don't need to post thirst trap reels or YouTube shorts every single post. That's not necessary. It probably won't perform well. Or if it does, you're likely attracting the kind of viewer or the kind of follower who likes to watch that kind of stuff for free. Not someone who's going to follow an influencer who's fully clothed all the time and pay money to see them undressed. You've got to keep these things in mind. If you're posting the same thing over and over again, your audience likely will tune out, even if they still follow you. This is when the engagement drops happen.
If you're enjoying this podcast episode so far, please take one moment to share it with another one of your adult content creator friends, because you know what the rule is here. We do not gatekeep, and we want to make as many adult creators' businesses as easy as possible. And you sharing this episode with them might do exactly that. Thanks so much in advance.
Now, this third part is that you need to know what actually earns attention. And here's something I think helps break through kind of the noise a little bit. The first thing is a clear brand vibe. So when someone lands on your page, can they feel your brand? Think of it as like scent memory. The best creators leave an impression behind. So what is your vibe made of? Your music choices, your color palette, your caption tone, your pinned post. It's the mood you bring in your stories and in your reels. All of those things help to identify a clear brand vibe. The next piece is the emotional resonance. So people don't just want to see you, they want to feel something through you. This could be laughter or desire or validation or escape or empowerment. Typically, the people that follow SWCEO and all the stuff we put out, they're looking to be empowered. They're looking for direction. They're looking to be educated. They're looking to be inspired or to be motivated. And I know that, and so I can speak to those people who I know will resonate with our stuff because I know what they're looking for. And so I build the content that I know they're looking and wanting. When you learn an emotional trigger and use it intentionally, fans pay attention. Your followers will pay attention, and it will work every time. Now, narrative positioning. So this is about the story your content tells. Are you the villain? Are you the heartbreaker or the rebel or the dream girl next door? You don't need to be relatable to everyone. You just need to be magnetic to the right ones. So create posts that continue this narrative arc. Let people watch you build something, whether that's your new studio or a new project or a new version of yourself. People don't follow creators, they follow stories. This other piece is tactical shifts that are going to boost your visibility right now. So these are the things you can take from this episode that I hope you can actually go and put into practice after this stops playing. So the first one is to change your first frame. Every video or visual should grab attention within the first 1 to 2 seconds. So start with a bold expression or a compelling pose or a question statement, something to hook viewership. You need to change your first frame, and you need to have a visual or verbal hook or both. Then use pattern interrupts. Break your own formats. Surprise your followers with something unexpected, whether that's new lighting or an unusual angle or some kind of cold open or a hook that breaks the fourth wall. Maybe you're talking directly to them. Next, you're going to repackage old content that performed well. So don't just post new, repurpose smart. There's a social media marketer that I follow that is really capitalizing on the trial reels right now. Basically, she takes all of her best performing reels that she's made and she posts them multiple times a day as trial reels, because trial reels only go out to non-followers to test how well that reel will perform. But because it's going to non-followers, those people see her trial reel and then they go and they follow her. So it's super useful because none of her real followers are seeing the same content over and over and over. It's only new people who haven't seen this content. And she knows the content is good because she's already tested it and it's already performed well. So she's just reposting these trial reels, 5-6 times a day and just scooping up followers. This specific account I follow, she gains like 2,000 new followers a day. And I've watched her do it. So she's really on to something. And I want to make sure you can capitalize on this too. You can repurpose, you can repackage content, and you can use it strategically. So whether that's on threads, whether that's on reels, whether that's on stories, shorts, carousels, doesn't matter. Visibility isn't about more. It's about better and thinking better, using content better. Then there's kind of like the inner work of being seen. So I want to kind of bring it deep for a minute. Sometimes it's not the algorithm that's actually hiding us, it's us. And this is really something I personally feel about myself. We say we want visibility, but we're secretly really scared of being seen. And again, I'm speaking for myself. You don't want to be seen as anything that is scary to you. So like, while I want to be seen as my brand, I want to be seen as sexy, I want to be seen as powerful, I want to be seen as a business owner, I want all of those things. But what comes with all of those things is also the ability for someone to see you who doesn't like you. Someone to see you and say that you're an imposter, like you're full of shit. Someone to see you and say you don't really make that much money, or you really don't know what you're talking about. Someone to see you and say that you're ugly, or that you're, in my case, too pale or too whatever. Like, pick your insult, but being seen means you're being seen across the board. And that is very scary. Visibility requires a lot of self-acceptance, and it asks you to show up unapologetically, and that's fucking hard. Like, truly, that is hard. And sometimes the work isn't actually the content strategy. It's like a nervous system regulation. If being visible feels unsafe, your strategy will always fall flat with that. So visibility in general, again, the caveat here is that it is not applied to all of us equally. This is known. Not all creators are moderated the same. Not all of us will show up the same way on the same platforms. Sometimes it's the algorithm, sometimes not. Sometimes it's shadow bans or search bans, sometimes not. The more often case is that the content isn't performing. And I hate to say that because it's painful, because it feels like a failure on our parts as creators. But realistically, that is almost always the case, more often than not. Because you can beat the other things. You really can. If the content is so good, if the content is performing well, the rest, it won't matter. Kazumi is a huge creator who's massive, and she does a lot of things. She talks about sex very openly on her platforms, but she's still growing consistently. There's a lot of other difficult niches that have pages on Instagram and other social platforms that grow month over month, even though it's hard, even though they're not positioned well in the market, even though they're not the kind of content IG necessarily wants on the platform. Say, for instance, a gun page that has, gun photography or the types of guns, or I don't know, specialized custom gun parts, whatever. Those are also not welcomed in this space, the same way adult creators are often not welcomed in these spaces. But if the content performs well, it performs well, and you get rewarded for that. Visibility is not owed, it is earned. And when you earn it through, clarity and creativity and emotional connection, fans don't just watch you, they're going to remember you. So if this episode gave you a little bit of fire to show up differently, I want to invite you to check out gpts.ai, because it is not just a writing tool for adult creators, it is strategically built for adult creators who want to stand out without burning out. So whether you're generating captions or promos or script video ideas or teaser scripts, like GPTs, it can help you show up louder and smarter and more you. You're not invisible. You're just not being intentional enough yet. And when I say you, I'm talking about me. So go get online and take up some space. Earn your attention and make them remember exactly who the fuck you are. I'll see you next time. Thank you so much for listening.
It would be absolutely incredible if you rated this podcast 5 stars and left a little review. We want to get this podcast to as many adult creators as possible, and you taking a second to leave a couple stars and a review really helps us do that. Thanks so much.